So 561 Music now has a hotline. You can call us anytime at 561-203-9122 and ask us any questions you like. Some humorous ones or something about the guests we've had on the show, or questions about gear, or questions about the festival, or anything you like. It's, of course, 561-203-9122. We would love to hear from you. We did a pretty fun little message, so you get to hear that too. Even if you just call up to listen to me and Hector trying to do a good phone message, that's a good enough reason. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch.
Take a better scene. It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. I'm Hector, and there's no Ben today. Ben is unfortunately not with us today. He's playing one of those very, very rare Wednesday gigs that he very occasionally does, and by occasionally I mean like once a year, and today is it. So it's just me, guys. Unfortunately, you have just me, but let's see, what did we do this weekend? The Killbillies, we were all over the place this weekend. We were up in Fort Pierce on Friday. We played Sailfish Brewery, and that was pretty fun. Good group of people up there, and there's always a good crowd up there. Saturday night, we played Patty Mac's, and that's just our spiritual home. Patty Mac's is always just, it's always fun. It's always fun. There's always a good crowd there. People really love us there, and we just love playing there. And then Sunday, we played at the Gardens Green Market, which is, it's a fun gig, and we enjoy it, but it is just way too early for any musician on a Sunday morning. So it's we have to be there at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to set up. And after a long night at Patty Mac's, it was just it's always brutal to get up. But that's what we did this weekend. And so today our guest is Scattered Lights, and we have Matthew, Ethan, and Asher. How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
We're good.
Yeah. All right. We'll just dive right into it. Basically, what we usually start out with is we ask you guys how you got started in music, and just individually how you got started in music. So we'll start with you, Matthew. How did you get started, and was your family supportive and that kind of stuff?
Wow. Let's see. Drums were actually the first thing, and then there was just way too much from the neighbors, so that went away, and I just really still wanted to play Smashing Pumpkins songs. That was really the reason why I wanted to play an instrument.
And how old were you at this time?
I don't know, but I was in middle school.
Okay.
And so I ended up switching to guitar and literally played till my fingers bled and fell asleep playing, and finally started learning stuff, and within a few months, hey, all right, I'm getting good at this. And
how about your family? What was music like in your house? Is that you get parents play a lot of music and stuff, or?
Oh yeah, that's always been a constant. Unfortunately, my parents are really big disco fans.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Oh yeah, there is. But I lucked out though. My brother was kind of a saving grace that he had good taste in music and exposed me to a lot of rock from 80s, 90s, and all that.
Sure.
And, he brought me to all my first shows and was always super supportive of exposing me to that culture and with the instrument in general. So I think I really, really lucked out in that respect. And my parents have always been pretty supportive as well.
Now, did you take any lessons or anything? Or
No.
Nice.
It was all, it was kind of funny. A lot of people wonder why I use such heavy gauge strings, and it's not because the way I tune or anything. It's because when I first started learning, I was using my grandfather's really nice Les Paul. And a buddy of mine kind of figured, I bet if I discourage him, he'll give up and maybe he'll sell it to me, not realizing there was no way that was going to happen. So he put 13s on this thing.
Oh, wow.
So I'm learning with 13s, which is why I was playing till my hands bled. And yeah, that didn't work on him, but it backfired on me because now I can't use lighter gauge strings. I just tear through them.
That's pretty funny. All right, so your grandfather used to play then, so you have a little musical background in your family.
Yeah, my grandfather was just a really great human being in general.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very inspiring to me as a person.
Awesome. What about you, Ethan? How did you get started?
So I actually wasn't too interested in music at first. This was around elementary school. I mainly listened to like EDM, like the 2010s kind with like dubstep and like really generic house music. And this one day at church, like this is near the end of like 5th grade, like my parents were like encouraging me to play an instrument. And this one day at church, I decided to pick up, or at least like one of the members of the church band let me pick up their bass guitar. And my parents noticed that I was pretty like interested in like me trying to noodle, you know. And I think like a week later they bought me a bass guitar, and I just
Nice.
at that time I was still like a little bit into EDM, so I tried to learn songs from like that genre, but my dad also encouraged me to like actually like learn simple songs for the bass guitar.
Nice. So your parents kind of pushed you a little bit in that direction, huh?
Pretty much.
And did they like when they bought you that bass guitar? Did you do lessons and things at that point, or you just kind of did it on your own, or?
Yeah, at first it was pretty much on my own.
Yeah, YouTube University.
Yes. Yeah, but eventually I did start taking lessons.
Did you end up playing? You said you got interested in it when somebody at the church was playing it. Did you actually start playing at the church at all at any point? Or?
Oh yeah. At some point I started playing in church, and as I got better and better, I started playing like pretty much the whole like church set list.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of musicians that have come through here that during the interview they talk about how they got started at church and stuff. Like that seems to be like a huge thing, you know, especially with a lot of the churches having a lot of like musical ensembles and things. So yeah, that's awesome, man. How about you, Asher? How'd you get started?
Well, both of my parents are musicians. There were a lot of instruments in the house. It was really impossible to avoid it. You know, at some point very early on, I decided that the drums were the coolest, and I went just all in on that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know, I learned as much as I could by myself. I took all sorts of lessons. I played in school. I still play in school.
Yeah, nice.
Even in a few bands now.
Nice. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Ben was one of your teachers at one point?
Yeah, that's right. When Ben was still working at the School of Rock, I was a student there.
Yeah.
He really helped me a lot, and I'm kind of sad he isn't here to talk with us.
Yeah, I saw him in the parking lot on the way in. He was pretty bummed that he wasn't going to be here, so he didn't realize you were in this band.
Yeah, I really owe him a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. I like to hear that. You know, Ben loves teaching. It's one of his favorite things. I mean, he loves all things music, and he loves teaching. So to have someone like you be at the table here being interviewed, and it's somebody that that he helped along the way, that's awesome. That warms my heart. I like that. Ethan, I'm going to come back to you because you're the bass player, man. Tell me, and I mean, listen, I'm a little biased, all right. I'm a bass player, so
perfect.
But tell me, we were talking a little bit before we started the interview about the double bass, about the upright bass and stuff. And so, do you play upright or?
Oh yeah, I actually most of my education was actually in upright.
Okay.
So I'd say around like 7th grade, I started to pick it up, because I was like, at that point I was really interested in like a career in music and willing to like put effort into a really valuable instrument.
Sure. And as far as like playing style and stuff, are you do you bow it at all, or do you just finger pick it, or slapping, rockabilly, like what do you do?
I have no idea how to slap on the double bass.
Okay. Okay.
It's mainly like jazz style and bow.
Nice, man. Mad respect, man. It's I've been a bass player, pretty much my entire life, since I was probably 17, 18 years old, and I didn't pick up a double bass until I joined Killbillies. So I've only been playing the double bass for about 2.5 years. I joined Killbillies about 3 years ago, and I picked up the double bass about 6 months into it. And yeah, huge respect, man, because it's been a huge learning curve for me. So yeah, it's a cool instrument. So all right, so let's see. How did you guys come up with the name of the band?
Well, we only have one original member here.
It actually came from a friend of mine
Okay.
who was a fan of just the stuff that I wrote in general and me as a player. And he was like, I really like your premise as to why you're wanting to start this new band, which is essentially to, the hopes that your music can touch people and help them in a positive way
Nice.
and get people through in like the same way that it has me. And he was like, I've got the perfect name for you guys. I'm like, all right, let's hear it. And I'm like, oh my God, that is a really good name, actually. He's like, it's yours.
Nice.
What's it mean? He's like, well, taking this positivity, this positive energy you have, and putting it as far out as you can, like light does. Like, oh,
I like
all
that.
right.
I like that. I like that it has meaning and it's not just oh, it's cool name, it's cool band name. 'Cause we get a lot of that. I mean, Killbillies, that's just a cool band name.
Yeah.
So you're talking about writing and stuff. Well, first off, you said you're the only original member. So how long has the band as a whole been together, and how long has this ensemble been together?
Well, we were together a few years before COVID,
Okay.
and then kind of took a break just because.
Because everybody did.
I mean, life kind of happened,
Yeah,
I graduated college and I bought a home and was trying to put life together, really.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
time to be an adult for a little bit. And just kind of said, you know what, let's go ahead and get this restarted back, me and the original bass player. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So kind of waited a little bit, and then finally it's like, hey, we can have contact with people again. Great. So we went ahead and started looking online and went and tried Asher out through, what was it, Bandmix, I think?
Yeah.
Found him on Bandmix, went and played with him, and was like,
Found
holy
a lot
crap.
of band members through band mix over the years.
Like, this guy's freaking amazing. So rehearsed with him like 2 or 3 times, and then we went and played with our old bass player, Matt, and it just clicked really well. And me and Matt were like, this guy's really freaking good. Like, yeah, I know. Gotta keep him. But yeah, that was that. And unfortunately, last year, Matt decided to leave the state.
Okay.
So, like, all right, let's find a new bass player. So, luckily, Asher knew Ethan.
Nice.
And
You guys go to school together, or?
We sort of met through the school jazz scene, but not at the same school.
Yeah.
We met in band camp.
Okay.
Yes. Band camp being like a bunch of schools like coming together over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So how long has this group been together, the three of you guys?
since, I guess, with all three of us, since October, really, to be honest.
Okay.
Mhm.
It was kind of funny. Like I was saying earlier, kind of reminded me. You ever seen a movie, That Thing You Do, before?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that scene towards the end where they're going to be on like that sort of late night television show, and
Yeah.
they get this bass player in, like, well, can you play the songs? And the guy's like,
The
I
Wolf-
think I can
the
handle.
Wolfman.
Yeah, he's like, I think I can handle your stuff, Junior, and pulls out this like, holy crap. That's pretty much like how it was when he came in. Like, I'm dead freaking serious.
That's amazing. I Am Spartacus. That's a great movie, man. That's a great movie. I love that movie. So, all right, cool. How? This is a question. This is a question that we like to ask everybody. Everybody, there's no right or wrong answer, and everybody's got their own answer to this. But do you guys practice? I'm assuming as a band you practice, but do you practice individually your instruments?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you?
Every night.
Every night?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, nice. And now, do you just practice your guitar, or do you practice your vocals as well?
I go through about a half hour of vocal exercises every night.
Excellent.
And with the guitar, about 35, 40 minutes or so,
Nice.
depending on how tired I am from the day, really.
Yeah, if I get 15 minutes a week of practice, it's a lot, and it's just because we're gigging so much, you know, and it's hard sometimes to. I hate to say motivated, but yeah, it's hard sometimes to get motivated during the week when I've already played, you know, 3, sometimes 4 hour shows over the course of the week. Like it's hard to just
Oh, that sounds awesome.
yeah. Plus, when you're playing when you're playing like a guitar or something, like, you know, you can keep it hanging on a hook, like we have someone here in the studio, and you can keep it on a hook. You can walk past it, pick it up, noodle for 10 minutes, and put it back, and you've practiced. Even if that's just every once in a while, you know, it keeps you going. It's a little harder to pull that double bass out of the case and set it up. It just becomes cumbersome. It does. It becomes. I'm starting to get better about leaving it set up in one of the rooms in the house and just walking past it and trying to do a little something. But it gets hard. It gets hard. So you were saying earlier that. Matthew, you were saying that with the previous members and stuff, like how the band got started and stuff, and how you know, you were trying to get your music out and stuff. So I'm assuming you are the primary music writer of the band?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. And so do you guys have a writing process? Like, do you write something and just bring it to the guys and say, just play this, or do you bring them stuff and they have their input on it, or how's it all work with you guys?
With the stuff that was pre-existing before, I mean, it's like, okay, well, the stuff's already in place, so
Sure.
it's like learn that. But with all the new stuff that we're working on right now, it's a lot more freer input. You know, the main thing is to serve the song and not the ego, really.
Sure, absolutely. And what's your process like? Do you tend to come up with lyrics and then music, or music and then lyrics, or
It's honestly all over the place.
a little
like,
both? Yeah.
I was telling them a few days ago, I came up, what was it, last Monday, I think? I was on my duty at work, and just popped in my head to write a song essentially about what a teacher goes through in the day, which is essentially kind of screaming for silence.
Okay.
And that's literally what I decided to. But I came up with I'm like, all right, that drum pattern sounds like it would work really well, something like that. Like, I have a sound in my head of what the guitar should sound like.
Okay.
And I started humming a vocal melody and what I felt were some possible good lyrics to go with that. And I
Yeah.
fleshed the whole chorus out, and I got home and I figured most of it out with the exception of this one noise. And I came to play with them, and I'm like, oh, shoot, that's the sound. And it just came right out. And we started messing with it a few days ago. I'm like, all right, this sounds pretty good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're a teacher?
Yeah. I
Nice.
teach middle school language arts.
Nice. Good for you, man. How busy is the band these days? Like, I know you guys you said you guys are just kind of getting going from October or whatever, but are you guys playing out a lot, or not that often, or you're trying to play more out, or?
It's about a show a month it's looking at right now.
Okay.
The toughest part really is just trying to get venues to respond
Yes.
and getting bands to actually commit, which seems like it shouldn't be difficult, but unfortunately
It's
it
a
kind
lot
of
more
is.
difficult than it seems. Yeah.
And it kind of causes you to lose gigs too, which sucks.
Yeah. So you're playing, Killbillies has a lot of originals, and we try to slip them in wherever we can and stuff. I mean, when we're playing, if we're playing O'Shea's or something and it's a 4-hour gig, we're probably playing, 2 hours of originals slipped in here and there, probably like a 1-for-1 almost, of originals and covers. When you guys are doing your shows, or you're putting your shows together, I'm assuming you're not doing these 4-hour cover gigs and things. You guys are just playing your originals, and you're playing with other bands. So you're doing like a 30 or 45-minute set or something.
About 30, 35
Yeah.
minutes all original.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it just feels. I decided a long time ago not to really learn other people's music, just
Yeah.
because the more you learn other people's stuff, the more it's going to influence what you do. And
100%, man.
there goes you being able to have some sort of style.
Well, what's funny with Killbillies is as far as style goes, we do play a lot of covers, but if you ever go to a Killbilly show and listen to us, you'll know what the songs are. They're recognizable, but I don't think there's any cover that we play the way it's supposed to be played. We play it our way, and so we just, it just turns out to be kind of Hillbilly covers, basically. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. What kind of venues have you guys been playing? You guys are based out of Palm Beach County, right?
Yep.
So you've been playing venues around here or down south or?
Pretty much Broward. For some reason, I feel like Broward is a lot more welcoming.
There's a few. There's a few venues down there that are pretty open to having the original bands. It's hard. There's a lot of venues that have music. There's not a lot of venues that have original music.
Yep.
So it's very hard. Tough Times down in Broward. Is that one of the places you've played at? Or?
Yeah, I
Yep.
love Tough Times.
Yeah.
It's like there used to be this place called Vintage Tap actually in downtown Delray.
Oh yeah.
Loved to play that place. And it was funny because Tough Times reminds me of Vintage Tap, and I told the owner that, and he's like, "Oh, I happen to be friends with that owner."
Okay.
I'm like, holy crap, that's
I'm
awesome.
trying to think. Is it Vintage Tap? Vintage Tap was like a recent thing that you've done?
No, it was prior to COVID. It was like
okay.
right before the app starts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because Justin, the producer in there, and actually the owner of Live Music Community where we're at, we were in a Nirvana tribute band for a while. And we played Vintage Tap a little bit, so a couple times. Yeah, we played that a couple times. It was fun, man. It was a tiny little place with a tiny little stage, but it was fun.
It was. I felt like
You were like 10 feet from the stage. I mean, from the stage to the bar was like right there. Like it was like you had like a little bit of space, a table, and then like the bar.
I felt like people who went there, like they genuinely wanted to hear music.
Oh,
like it
100%.
wasn't just a place to hang out. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh no, 100%, 100%. So let's see, what kind of? I know you said your brother. For you, your brother kind of introduced you to some music and stuff. What are some of the bands that influenced you?
Oh God. they know where this is going.
You guys start thinking about it because I'm asking you next.
I mean, like essentially when I started this band, I was like, I want to have something that sounds like my two biggest influences, which is Smashing Pumpkins and Alice in Chains. So to
Okay.
have that heaviness, that big wall of sound,
Yeah.
and the melodicism that they bring, and just that focus on just really great songwriting that
Oh, for sure.
really touches people.
Yeah, I love Alice in Chains.
So it's basically like about that. Soundgarden, Faith No More was like my very first favorite band.
Nice.
And going like the route of even younger, the Temptations. I
Nice.
just freaking love Motown. They have
Yeah.
like the absolute best writers ever.
That's funny, man. That's kind of it's not disco, but it's kind of edging on that. It's edging on that disco influence of yours.
They had that sort of little section there for a bit. But
Yeah. Ethan, what kind of influences did you have?
Okay, so as a bassist, a lot of like really like bassists that have a very specific sound, they influence me a lot. Like, for instance, Tina Weymouth from Talking Heads.
Yeah.
Like, really like, I guess like jerky bass lines, like most people call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Jaw Wobble, if you know him. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with more specifically his stuff with Public Image Limited. Like, he has like the lowest, most bassy sound ever, and these weird like symmetrical shapes he puts into these bass lines. It's super interesting.
That's pretty awesome. Well, I'm in another band with Justin right now called Euphoria, and he's pretty much the one who writes the songs. We all put a little bit of our own flavor on it, but it's pretty much him who comes to the table with, these are songs that he's written in the past and he brought to the table, kind of like you were saying, things from the past that you just already brought, that were already completed. But almost every song, the bass lines are way more complicated than any guitar line that's in a song, And so we joke around about it, and when we're joking around about writing a song, he'll strum two chords and be like, I like how that sounds. I'm like, here, let me write the bass line. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like all over. Yeah, no, because it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Asher, what kind of influences did you have?
Well, let's see it. It started mostly with classic rock, the kind of thing you'd play in a cover band in a bar.
Yeah.
Then it quickly got more and more adventurous from there. It went through the progressive rock you know, your Rushes, your Yeses, your King
Yeah.
Crimsons,
Hell yeah, man.
straight through to metal. And eventually I sort of hit a wall with that, and then I just sort of took a left turn into jazz.
Well, that's a huge left turn.
Yeah, funnily enough, the thing that got me to take jazz seriously was the movie Whiplash.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
So how'd you go? I mean, you went from metal to jazz. How'd you go from jazz to this stuff?
At a certain point, I felt like I had played a bit of everything, so I just played whatever I could get my hands on, and Matthew here was one of the first guys to give me a call.
Yeah. Now, see, a better answer would have been girls.
Well, yeah, that hasn't happened yet, but hopefully someday.
All right, so we talked about you guys playing some of the clubs and stuff that you guys have played, but overall, we talked about how you've found the scene as far as a lot of venues have music, but not a lot of venues have original music, and it's a little hard to book stuff. But how have you found the Florida scene, just the local Florida music scene overall, like in general? Do you feel like the bands around you are welcoming, or do you feel like it's a very cutthroat scene, or how do you feel about the scene in general?
Well, I'll just talk about my old band first with Emergency Staircase.
Okay.
So at first, it felt really weird for us since we were mainly focusing on getting ourselves out without the scene.
Yeah.
And then about a year later, when we started being active in the band again, we got back into the scene, and everyone is pretty nice here. And then there's these few people that are just a bit shadier.
Sure. Sure. There's always one in the crowd. Of course.
Always.
Of course. There's always one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that everyone who's willing to work with us is nice to work with.
Nice. Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Pretty much, yeah. I feel like things are kind of cliquey, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are some bands that they only play these 3 or 4 bands. These bands only play these 3 or 4 bands, and
Okay.
people kind of don't break out of that. I mean, I get wanting to play with bands that sound kind of similar to what you do, but at the same time, you want to have a little bit of variety too.
I think what happens, because I know of a handful of bands that I see them on the same bills with the same people over and over again. And I think in some cases, and I'm not saying that there's not any clickiness, there's definitely some clickiness with some bands. But I think in some cases, some bands are just really comfortable with other bands. Like you said, they have a similar sound, or they're really comfortable. They've become huge friends or something, and so they're always trying to play shows together because it's just fun. And it's an unfortunate byproduct of it that then those become these closed shows where it's the same 3 bands, but I have also found that the scene, as vast and as big as the South Florida scene is, I feel like there's a lot of community, and there's a lot of it's very rare that I get a band in here that either I didn't know somebody or Ben didn't know somebody, whether we knew somebody or not until they got here. And then we were like, oh, I didn't know you were in that band. And, with Ben being your teacher and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even my son, who stopped by earlier, Gavin, he knew you from another band that you were in. What was the other band you were in?
I have no idea.
Yeah, there's another band that you were in. I think you guys played a show together or something at some point. He's in Young Fiction. He plays the drums for Young Fiction.
Then if he's in Young Fiction, then he played with
Sleeping In?
Yeah, Sleeping In.
Sleeping In.
I wasn't going to
That's-
say the name. I wasn't going to say the name. I don't like to promote my other projects on
That's fine.
on stuff like this.
No,
but,
it's fine. Yeah, that was the band. But yeah, it's funny. It's just I find that it's this small community. Everybody kind of knows everybody, or somebody always knows somebody. Which is just kind of funny. But
That's cool. There are some bands we contact, and they're just super nice people. And you go and see them and hang out, and they're just the best. Man, I wish we were a little bit younger, because when you're younger, it's a little easier to hang out and everything. But as you get older,
Yeah.
people have lives, and wives or whatever it is.
Sure.
Pets.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm considerably older than you guys, and that's always an issue. It was an issue. I was a kid and I could do whatever I wanted. Then I was, the middle lifetime where it was, kids and family and everything and commitments, and I can only play out once in a while. Now my kids are pretty much, older now, 16, 19, et cetera. And so, so I play out a lot now. I'm like back to that. It's like my second wind, I guess.
Catch up time.
Yeah, exactly. So who does? You guys have a social media presence, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yeah.
And who does that? Do you guys do it all kind of together, or is it you, Matthew, or do you guys split that up a little bit?
Yeah, pretty much. It was funny. We were having a little bit of difficulty like later last year trying to get gigs, and finally one venue was like, well, you guys don't seem to have much of a social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really? That's what's... all right, fine. So we just started posting
You'd be shocked.
every day. And they're like, okay, now all of a sudden it's a lot easier to get gigs just posting random things
You would be
every
shocked.
day.
We actually have a social media person at this point with Killbillies, Danielle. Shout out to Danielle, who's absolutely amazing. But she posts literally every day for us, and she comes out to occasionally to shows and stuff and takes photos of us and things like that. So she's just constantly creating content and posting things and posting the shows and posting, our schedules, stuff like that constantly. And so Killbillies occasionally goes out of town, and so when we book stuff out of state and out of town, we do these like short little tours. We reach out to people. It's so much easier to reach out to somebody when they can go to your website or go to your social media and they can see you. And listen, what do they say? It's like your presence or your I guess your persona or however you want to put it, is 9/10 of the game. The illusion. So it's all smoke and mirrors kind of thing. But at the end of the day, like, you could be this huge band with no social media and this huge great band with no social media, and you're probably going to get less gigs than the small little band that has 3 songs but has a ridiculous presence online, because that's what they're looking for. They see that and they assume, oh, they're going to draw people because they have a good social media presence. Yeah, so that's a big deal. So are you guys better about posting and everything now, or?
Yeah, I've been getting on that, and I've had a few friends who are like, do you want me to take over this because you're not the best with social media? I'm like, no, I'm not.
That's funny. What are you guys using right now? Just Instagram, or?
We have a website that
Okay.
has, it looks kind of like a link tree where it has a bunch of links, but
Yeah.
among those it actually says, click here for the official site, and you click that and it takes you to an actual website, which
Okay.
seems a little odd, but there's videos and all of our upcoming shows. And
Nice. You guys keep a schedule on there then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. And do you update that yourself then on the website?
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. Let's see. I'm going to ask you a question that Ben sometimes asks. I know you guys haven't been together for too long, but you have played a few shows together. So what is the absolute weirdest thing that has ever happened at a gig for you guys? Or if anything weird has happened.
I mean, okay, so in the first gig, I didn't know it was a 21 plus show.
Okay.
So, and what's even funnier is that I brought a friend there who
Okay.
was not 21.
Okay.
And yeah, they had to be outside while I was performing
man.
inside.
Oh,
yeah.
man. So how old are you guys?
I am 18.
Okay.
I am 20.
You're 42, aren't you?
no, God, no.
No, I'm kidding. It
Oh
was a
my
joke. It was a
God.
joke.
I think I've been doing fairly well at staving off the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I know, man. It's all good.
No, I'm in my 30s.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. Well, I will tell you what. Why don't you guys play us a little something?
Sounds
Sure.
good.
Yeah. All right.
If I could run away from this, pack on my mind and lay to rest all of the thoughts inside just to hear you say we'll never have to look back now. Maybe I've been trying to get to you. Maybe if I took the time to pull you through again. If I could walk a mile in your shoes, we'd feel the stones and the pain from the abuse. I'd find another way, I'll find another way now. We'll finally walk away from this in just another day, in just another day now. We'll finally walk away from this. Can't be over. So much time has gone. And now that I'm sober, here in my mind, I can't be wrong. I'll find another way, I'll find another way now. We'll finally walk away from this in just another day, in just another day now. We'll finally walk away from this. Now I'll find another way, I'll find another way now. We'll finally walk away from this. In just another day now. We'll finally walk away from this. You look at me and stand here in this moment. I'm watching as you face your ways again now. Now take a chance on me and lose your insecurity. You lose it all. Close your eyes and tell me what you're thinking. 'Cause I don't have the right. Now tell me that you feel the same. Now take a chance on me and lose your insecurity. You lose it all. It's the sound of silence I'm hearing. Can't believe that I could fall again. Just one more chance, just one last dance. I know we'll make it through again. It's the sound of silence we live in. Can't believe it's all been faded dead. Just one more chance, just one last dance. I know we'll make it through again. You walk away from me. You walk away from the rest. You walk away, there's nothing left now. It's the sound of silence I'm hearing. Can't believe that I could fall again. Just one more chance, just one last dance. I know we'll make it through again. It's the sound of silence we live in. Can't believe it's all been faded dead. Just one more chance, just one last dance. I know we'll make it through again. When you walked away and I couldn't make you stay. When you walked away and I couldn't make you stay. When you walked away and you walked away and you walked away and you walked away.
561 Music is sponsored by Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals. Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals and Boat Club is Palm Beach County's premier boat rental company and boat rental club. They have been in continuous operation since the year 2000 on the beautiful waters of Jupiter Inlet. It is the affordable alternative to boat ownership. Their membership club ranks number 1 in both quality, availability and customer satisfaction. You'll choose from their fleet of boats consisting of deck boats, dual consoles and center consoles. Rent offshore fishing boats, deluxe cruising boats, and plush deck boats, all powered by 4-stroke outboard engines. Their vessels are fully equipped for your safety and comfort with styles suitable for ocean and intracoastal use. They are located just 2 minutes away from the mouth of Jupiter Inlet, which means fast access and the most beautiful stretch of the intracoastal. In fact, no other boat company can match their ideal location. Fishermen will be thrilled to note that sports fishing starts just a quarter mile offshore and the warm Gulf Stream is a mere 3 miles from the shore. The address is 1095 North A1A, Jupiter, Florida 33477, and you can find it at jupiterinletboatrentals.com. The telephone is 561-741-1212. In their efforts to make boating affordable, they offer rental discount membership programs that do not require a large investment up front. You pay a little to join and pay as you go. Other boat rental clubs take all your money up front, charge a monthly maintenance fee, and hope you never show up. At Jupiter Inlet Boat Club, plans start at $700 to join, and each time you take out a boat, daily fees start at just $249 plus fuel. There are no monthly fees. If you have heard of the boat club from 561 Music, please let them know when you call or go there to book a boat, and the friendly staff will take that into account and take care of you. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there.
All right. So, we just listened to some advertisements, and the last one we had was Live Music Community. So, seeing as Live Music Community is a music school for kids, and it's where we're at right now. Do you guys have any advice for upcoming young musicians?
Don't give up. Keep trying your best.
Nice.
Well, that was going to be mine too.
So, really don't give up.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. It's too fun to give up. How can you?
Right.
Also, listen to a lot of music, not just practice.
Okay. Yeah. I think variety of music is the way to go too. People get pigeonholed into like a certain genre or certain, and
Definitely.
not to say that their music, doesn't have a certain feel to it or whatever, so that it's all cohesive and it sounds like it's the same band, but I think listening to different types of music is broadening that horizon is always very helpful in the writing process and stuff. So
Totally.
yeah, Matthew, you got anything to
Yeah, find something that inspires you. If
Okay.
you feel like when you're learning that it's just not happening, find that one thing to drive you, and that'll be it. That'll be your guiding light.
add? Okay. Yeah. Good stuff, man. So, man, you guys just played a couple of songs for us. Pretty awesome. First thing I'm going to ask you is, this is the first time you guys have played acoustically, huh?
This
Yeah.
lineup, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. What'd you think about it? How'd it feel to play acoustic instead of like really rocking out?
I mean, I still felt like in the second song we were rocking out a bit.
Yeah. No, it sounded good, man. It sounded good in the studio monitors in there. It was sounding really good. So it was definitely a jam. Matthew, why don't you tell us a little bit about what those songs are called and a little bit about the meaning of the songs, maybe?
Sure. The first one we did is Another Way, which I guess we're just going to refer to as a 561 Music Podcast exclusive because we do not play that one live.
Oh,
It's just
amazing.
It's really difficult. As simple as it may sound, it's actually pretty difficult to perform live in the way that we would like to play it. So it just doesn't really get played, at least not at the time being anyway.
Okay.
But that one was inspired by the kind of oddest thing. I was in a writing class, and this person I used to talk to, and everyone would kind of volunteer their latest writing, and this person I would talk to shared this poem. I don't remember the exact title, but it had what was it? It mentioned in the title, a post-apocalyptic bathtub. I'm like, what the? But it was like this poem essentially about this time she tried to kill herself in the bathtub.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, that inspired that song about just wanting to help someone.
Okay.
And the other song we played, The Sound of Silence, not to be confused with that terrible Disturbed song. Good God.
That was something else before a Disturbed song, by the way.
Oh, I know. I'm not fond of that. The original one puts me to sleep. The other one just makes me want to leave the room.
I liked the original one.
It was about a couple that I was friends with, and they both decided to part ways for just the reason that they didn't see where it was going, even though they'd been together for a long time. But when I spoke with them both individually, they both had the same sentiments about not really wanting to go separate ways, but they just didn't feel like anything was really going anywhere. So it's essentially about how they both felt,
Okay.
the same, which was kind of strange.
Okay. Nice, man. Nice. And so you guys, you sent in a few pictures of some gear. So we're gonna have Justin pull one of those up first. And
Look
I'm
at
gonna-
that thing.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna assume Asher, this is your setup here, huh?
It's changed a little bit since that photo, but yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the 306 symbols that I see there?
Well, the symbols are a bit of a secret. I don't want word getting out about how I get them to sound like that, but
Nice.
I can tell you that they're all handmade.
Oh, wow.
The drum set, most of it is Mapex Armory. It's affordable but good.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Mapex.
I got every size I could find of that. You can see.
So how many, like, when you look at a basic shell pack, they call it a 5-piece. Like, how many pieces is this?
Let me think.
Not counting cymbals. I'm just talking just drums. I mean, this looks like something Neil Peart would be playing, man.
14,
Oh, he's counting.
16.
He's in the double digits.
I'm gonna say it's 11.
Okay.
Um,
Dang, dude. That's pretty impressive. And do you, I mean, all kidding aside, you bring this entire thing to like pretty much every show? That's a hell of a setup. man.
and no.
Okay.
That, at least as it looks there, that stays in the practice room.
Gotcha.
Only a few of the drums make it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's your show setup? More traditional 5-piece type thing.
It's a 5-piece kit.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, man. And then I think we have another photo. I believe it's some guitars.
That's my my RD Army.
Nice.
It's an instrument that no one plays, thankfully. They weigh a ton, but they all have their own individual sound. One of them's from the 70s, one's from about 15 years ago, and one is one of a kind. I'm able to get like sort of Strat-like sounds out of one and sort of mix that to get a Les Paul sound. And
Who makes this?
these are Gibson RD artists,
Okay.
but they're
Nice.
a great instrument. Sorry. These are Gibson RD artists. They're really large and they weigh a ton. And they were what I used for a very long time, but then I had an on-the-job injury, and I couldn't play instruments that had any weight to them.
Okay.
So I played hollow bodies for quite a few years, and I had a procedure a few years ago, and one day I was moving some stuff, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I can lift stuff. This means I don't have to play hollow bodies anymore. This is great. So I went and I experimented, and I got a weightier instrument.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. This feels truly like home again.
Yeah.
Whereas with a hollow body, I almost feel like I'm going to throw the thing at any time.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
But
Of
with one
course.
of these, it rests on me and it feels just perfect.
You guys, do either one of you two guys use pedals and things, or you pretty clean through the amps?
I definitely use quite a bit of pedals.
Okay.
Mainly in my old band, but now since I tune all the way down to drop C, it's kind of harder to use pedals since it's already pretty muddy, like using the low C. So adding pedals to that just makes it like.
Yeah, no, I hear you there, man. I hear you there. And you have a pedal board setup?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's at the very beginning of the first video we released. We're actually releasing a video series where we started in January. So every month it's sort of a different single, just because everyone has like
nice.
this super low attention span. So it's like, okay, well, we put this whole thing out back in July as a whole digital disc, I guess you can call it. And said, you know what, let's use the videos to promote each song individually. So
Yeah.
every month we release a different video single.
Yeah.
And the first one was for the single Echoes. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but he kind of shot it almost like a commercial. And going from the floorboard up, it's like, all right, there's a really great view of my board and my foot. Going up the instrument and whatnot, so you're hearing like my delay and my other delay going, and I have a modified wah, and I use a pog that I have set to be in between an octaver
Yeah.
and a organ, which I refer to as Transylvania. And the pog is great. It's like the secret weapon.
Yeah.
It's between an octave and a 12-string effect, and that organ. So
Nice.
Like in the first song in our set, you hear it right away, and like, what the heck is that? But it's cool. It really fills in a lot of space, especially when you're a three-piece.
I like
you tend to write with more larger open chords and
Yeah.
just power chords and that kind of stuff.
I like the releasing one video a month thing. We put out a full album out in November, and I mean, you know, there's positives to that as well, but I feel like, you know, you released it and then that's it. Like, you know, it's hard to keep getting people excited about it, and it's like, you know, you're like, hey, what about this song? And they're like, yeah, we already heard that. Well, what about this song? We already heard that. You know, so it's a little harder. I think our next thing is just going to be start releasing singles as opposed to a full album. I think in today's really low attention span, internet media, you know, kind of situation that we have these days, I think it's just smarter to release singles than it is. You can release, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles in a year, and you've captured that audience 2 or 3, 4, 5 times that year, as opposed to one big time and then you're done. You know, so yeah, that's definitely a better idea. So what else you guys have future plans wise? You're doing the videos, and then what else are you doing?
Well, this is Alive in the Gardens because we're in the gardens.
Right.
We filmed that here actually a year ago.
Okay.
Like
Here at Live Music Community.
right here.
Oh,
a year,
fantastic.
Literally a year ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I was looking through, you know, they said you can invite people if you want. I invited one person who was the guy I originally started this band with.
Okay.
Who's the one who mixed and mastered the whole thing too.
Nice.
And for me, it just felt like he was the right person to be here because he was around when I wrote some of these songs.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it just made sense, and he did an incredible job with it. I mean, I was sending Asher the mixes back when he was doing it, like, holy crap, this sounds amazing. Like, we have to put this out.
Nice.
But originally we filmed it just because a lot of places were like, well, where can we hear you? Where can we see you?
Yep.
We need some sort of promotional
Yep.
whatever. So
Goes
all
back
right.
to that whole social media thing. It's hard to get booked when they can't see and hear you. You know, just you're not going to take your word for it, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. But I mean, I think it's a great idea to release a video single every single month because
Yeah.
then you have something new to promote and you can attach that to with your shows. You know, we'll make little sort of 15-second teaser videos like,
Yeah.
okay, we're at X venue and this
Yeah.
date with these bands. Come out, come get loud with us because we're freaking loud. And,
Yeah, man. Content. It's the name of the game right now. So
you know, it's a nice thing to attach with every show, too. Like,
Yeah.
here's a different song as well, not just the same one with
Yeah.
every single video, which is nice.
well, what else do you guys have coming up? You got any shows coming up or anything that you have locked in?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're actually just going through all those details earlier today. We have, I think it's the Gingers on
It's the 5th.
Revenge
Yeah.
of the Fifth. Gingers is going to be on Revenge of the Fifth, which is going to be cool.
Ginger's is down in Fort Lauderdale, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
Nice.
we're going to be at the end of May at, oh God, what's it called? The Roasted Record,
Okay.
which looks really, really freaking cool. I'm not sure if it's going to be inside or outside.
Where's
but
that at?
Stewart,
Okay.
somewhere.
Roasted Record. That sounds familiar. I think I've seen where other bands have played there or something. Because I do remember seeing that name somewhere. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I tried to go see a
It's
show
an actual.
there.
It's a record store, right?
Yeah, it's a record store and a coffee store. I'm like, holy crap, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. That is really cool. Actually, that's a cool venue. That's cool. Cool venue idea. Yeah. Anything else coming up?
We're hoping to stick one more show in. Then during June, it'll be a focus on working with these newer songs, and
Yeah.
I really want to firm up a lot more of the lyrics really to that stuff. And hopefully in July, we'll get to go ahead and decide which ones to record for the next release.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this is where I do my shameless Killbillies plug. So what Killbillies has going on this weekend is Friday night we're playing at DOS over in Abacoa. That's always a good time. And then Saturday, Ben and James are doing a duo at Square Grouper from 3 to 6. And then Saturday night we are playing at O'Shea's, another fun place that we play, starting at 9 o'clock, and we'll be there all the way through, I think, 1 a.m. So that's what Killbillies has going on this weekend. And I think we're putting a tour together for October for 2 weeks. So yeah, so we did one last summer. That's when we recorded the album up in Memphis, and then we're doing another one in this October. We'll figure out where we're going. We're just still working on the details, I guess. But
That sounds awesome.
yeah. But guys, it was a pleasure having you here. I appreciate you guys being here. It was great meeting all of you. I wish you guys nothing but the best in the future. You guys have a lot of good stuff. I've been listening to your guys' stuff on Spotify and everything, and it's getting your numbers up, a lot of good stuff. So yeah, man, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and chatting a little bit about the band and everything. So,
Thank you very much for having
thank
us.
you.
yeah, no, absolutely. For everybody out there listening, watching, whatever, absorbing the show, if you will, 561music.com is where all the tabs are. I mean, all the social stuff is there. The website's there. The donation buttons are there. If you want to sponsor an episode or 10, that's there. There's festival information from the last festival that we've posted on there. There's still shirts available from the last festival. And then all the social medias are at 561 Music Podcast. So there's also, you saw at the beginning of the show, you saw a little quick ad for our hotline. Feel free to call the hotline. We've gotten a couple of calls. I didn't talk about them today because Ben's not here, and I want to have that discussion with Ben. But we have gotten a couple of calls on the hotline, and it's going to be fun to talk about those on the next episode. But thank you guys again for hanging out. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks,
you.
guys. Appreciate
you.
it.